to first, got it.
Making it to the MLB is a gargantuan task for anybody, much less someone who's missing a vital body part. But that's exactly what this guy did. It may not have been a long, illustrious career like some other baseball legends, but in his prime, he was a reliable workhorse who chewed up innings. He showed the world what he's capable of, and it's about time we recognize the remarkable Jim Abbott and all that he accomplished. To truly recognize Jim's journey, the Yak Fam had to dive in to celebrate him. Jim Abbott was born without a hand. In order to field his position, he placed a glove over the nub of his arm. When he released the pitch, he would quickly transition his functional hand into the glove and ready himself. The transfer was effortless. He had been doing it his entire life. Jim fielded his position quite well for someone lacking the 5 necessary phalanges to wear the equipment. Even against the fastest of comebackers, the burly big man was nimble, with reflexes like a cat. He almost always got the job done defensively. The one-handed wonder was born in Flint, Michigan on September 19, 1967. From a very young age, Jim's athleticism was obvious. He possessed a bulky frame with a cannon for an arm. On the gridiron, he was the quarterback, and on the baseball diamond, he was the ace of the pitching staff. In no way did a lack of a hand slow him down. His story is an inspiration to young boys and girls all over the world. Jim was a beast, blessed with a raw, natural talent. His athleticism was off the charts, but the obvious issue was the missing meat hook. The lack of a hand made things difficult, having to prove his worth at every step of the journey. From early days in T-ball to high school and all the way through college, Jim had doubters and naysayers. People telling him not to bother because he would never be good enough. This cynical behavior irritated Jim, and it really fueled his fire. Ironically enough, if it wasn't for others telling him he couldn't, Jim may not have had the motivation to go as far as he did. In Flint, Michigan, Jim was the best player on his team. By the time he graduated high school in 1985, he was already drafted by the Toronto Blue Jays in the 36th round of the draft. In a strange twist of fate, instead of pursuing this dream and signing with the Jays as a teenager, Abbott elected to attend the University of Michigan. A smart decision, as he went on to win all kinds of awards and accolades while playing in Ann Arbor, Michigan. He blazed a trail for handicapped individuals all over the country. At the University of Michigan, Jim enjoyed 3 seasons with the Wolverines. They won back-to-back Big Ten championships in 1986 and 1987 and compiled an overall record of 26 wins with just 8 losses. In his second year, Jim received the Golden Spikes Award, an honor given to the top amateur baseball player in the nation. Jim continued to win more hardware in 1988 as he was named the recipient of the Sullivan Award. This honor was reserved for the nation's top amateur athlete, and they couldn't have chosen a more perfect candidate. At this point, Abbott's talents were being showcased nationally. The young man from Michigan was asked to be the flag bearer for the USA team at the 1987 Pan American Games, which the team finished in second place. The following year, he was asked to pitch in the gold medal game in the 1988 Seoul Olympics. The U.S. defeated Japan on the back of Jim Abbott. The hurler pitched a complete game, allowing 3 runs on 7 hits. Unfortunately, baseball was a demonstration sport at the time, so the gold medal wasn't official. That, however, didn't make it any less magical for the U.S. squad as they pigpiled on Abbott after the final out. After making waves on the international circuit, Jim was back on American soil. The budding star was drafted by the California Angels with the 8th overall pick in the 1988 draft. The Michigan stud needed no time getting himself acclimated to professional baseball. He made his Angels debut before playing in a single minor league game. With a pedigree like Jim's, it didn't come as a huge shock at the time. Abbott finished the season 5th in the league for Rookie of the Year voting. He accumulated 12 wins with a 3.92 ERA. Not too shabby for a dude missing a hand, wouldn't you say? Twice that season, the kid blanked the Red Sox in a complete game shutout. Abbott certainly had a hot start to his career, but his stats did dip a little in his sophomore season. Considering the obstacles he had to overcome, it was still a very impressive season. He was able to throw over 200 innings and positioned himself nicely for a 1991 breakout season. Jim saw his earned run average plummet from a mediocre 4.51 ERA in year 2 to a much slicker-looking 2.89 in year 3. He collected a total of 18 wins to go along with 158 strikeouts. The Southpaw dominated the competition and finished 3rd in the AL for Cy Young voting. The team, however, couldn't find any traction and finished in last place. The 1992 season was much the same. Jim was dazzling with a sparkling 2.77 earned run average, which was the 5th lowest in the AL. However, the team left a lot to be desired as the ace lost 15 games that year. It was clear to the Angels that they needed to shake things up on the roster, so with mixed emotions, they traded away their treasure to the Yankees in December of 1992. Upon his arrival in the Bronx, Abbott had some exhilarating highs but some dreadful lows to match. In his second game with the club, he pitched a complete game, allowing 1 run on 8 hits to the Royals. Later that year, on August 13th, the lefty repeated the performance when he pitched a complete game, again allowing 1 run on 8 hits. This time against the Baltimore Orioles, and it went down as his 9th win of the season. His 10th win didn't come until the next month in a home game at Yankee Stadium. It was September 4th, and Jim was facing a lethal Cleveland Indians roster, a lineup he faced the week prior and got smoked to the tune of 7 runs on 10 hits. He coughed up 3 long balls, so needless to say, he wasn't super excited to see the same potent team. This time around, things were much different. The Yankee starter had the game of his life and pitched an incredible no-hitter. The prolific Indians lineup featured one of the premier leadoff men in the game, Kenny Lofton, while sluggers Manny Ramirez, Jim Thome, and Albert Bell supplied the power. Luckily, Abbott had a stout defense behind him, highlighted by a brilliant play made by Wade Boggs to gun down the menace Albert Bell at first base. This was the greatest moment of Jim's career. Unfortunately, he finished the year with 11 wins and 14 losses. Not the numbers he was hoping for when he was traded to the Pinstripers. Hoping for better results in year 2 with the Yankees, the season started off on the right. As we know, a player strike cut the 1994 season short. It looked like for the first time, Abbott was going to get a chance to pitch in the postseason. The Yankees sat atop the division with a 6.5-game lead over the Orioles, but it wasn't meant to be. The work stoppage was a crushing blow for Jim's playoff hunt. Next season, Jim was a pending free agent and excited to hit the open market. The veteran pitcher signed with the White Sox in April of 1995. Abbott was experiencing another strong start in Chicago, pitching 3 complete games for an impressive 3.36 ERA through 17 starts. For some reason, the White Sox ultimately decided to trade him back to California in July, just a few short months after signing him. The move was partly because the Angels wanted to bolster their starting rotation, but the other part for the Angels was to bring back one of the most popular players in team history. The Angels fans were quickly falling off the bandwagon, and the front office knew it. The big trade didn't go as planned for the Angels, as they lost a 1-game tiebreaker to the Mariners at the end of the season. Perhaps Jim Abbott should have made the start against Seattle's big man Randy Johnson. If losing the tiebreaker wasn't bad enough, the next year was Jim's worst year on record, managing just 2 wins to go along with 18 losses. His ERA ballooned to 7.48, and the lefty decided it was time to hang up the cleats. It didn't take long into retirement for Jim to realize he had more to offer the game of baseball. In September of 1998, he made a comeback with the White Sox. At first, it appeared like the veteran was right. He started 5 games and won all 5 of them. He pitched 31 innings with 14 strikeouts and a respectable 4.55 ERA. To start the 1999 season, Jim found himself in Milwaukee. Things didn't go very well on the Brewers' mound. The lone bright spot was the fact that Jim played in the National League and got to showcase his batting skills. Abbott held his own with the stick, which really kind of boggles the mind. New York Yankees legend Mariano Rivera recounts the time he was watching Jim take batting practice one day before a game. The dude was swatting homers into the bleachers with relative ease. Abbott was never able to go yard in an actual game, but Jim did have a couple of timely hits in that final season. The first connection was a frozen rope that elevated up over the shortstop's outstretched glove and scored a run. The second base knock was a ball up the middle that also evaded the shortstop's glove. The grounder plated 2 more runs, giving him a total of 3 RBI on the season. Jim Abbott retired for good after pitching 82 innings with the Brew Crew. By the time all was said and done, Jim had pitched a total of 1,674 innings in the MLB. The Michigan man was able to prosper despite an uneven playing field. Jim never considered himself to have a disability. In fact, he claims the lack of a hand was the biggest source of inspiration in his life. It allowed him to reach levels that otherwise weren't possible. Well, that's how Jim saw it anyways. The reality is that he was severely handicapped, but what separated him from others is he was able to overcome his shortcomings. Jim Abbott's career is one of the most inspiring stories in MLB history, but his legacy extends far beyond his accomplishments on the field. Jim continued to impact the world of sports and society long after he hung up his cleats. After his retirement from baseball, Jim Abbott's career took a different but equally impactful path, one of motivational speaking. Abbott's speeches are filled with themes of resilience, adaptability, and the power of a positive mindset. His message is simple but powerful. What you have is enough. This idea resonates deeply, whether he's speaking to corporate professionals, young athletes, or individuals with disabilities. Jim has spoken at schools, businesses, and even major sporting events, sharing stories about perseverance and challenging limitations. For him, baseball wasn't just about throwing strikes, it was about redefining what's possible. And in 2012, Jim Abbott released his autobiography, Imperfect: An Improbable Life. The book offers an in-depth look at his journey, exploring not just his successes, but also the struggles that defined him. Abbott candidly discusses the psychological battles he faced, dealing with doubt, criticism, and the pressure to perform at the highest level despite physical limitations. The book also reveals personal stories from his childhood in Flint, Michigan, the pressure of representing Team USA at the Olympics, and the emotional high of pitching a no-hitter in Yankee Stadium. It was more than just a sports memoir. It's a roadmap for overcoming life's obstacles and finding purpose in the face of adversity. Abbott's book has been a source of inspiration for countless readers, including athletes and non-athletes alike. It serves as a reminder that while perfection is often out of reach, the pursuit of excellence, despite imperfections, is what truly defines success. Abbott's success story has made a lasting impact on the development of adaptive sports programs across the U.S. As a pioneer for athletes with disabilities, he's been a vocal advocate for inclusion in sports, often partnering with organizations like the Challenged Athletes Foundation and the Adaptive Sports Center. His message emphasizes that physical limitations shouldn't prevent anyone from pursuing their dreams, whether it's in baseball or any other sport. Abbott has often stated that, while he didn't see himself as disabled, he understood that his presence in MLB could serve as a beacon of hope for others with disabilities. In interviews, Abbott has expressed pride in seeing more adaptive sports leagues and programs thriving today, providing opportunities for athletes with physical and developmental disabilities. He sees these advancements as part of his legacy, one that extends far beyond his stats on a baseball card. Beyond the professional arena, Abbott has taken a hands-on approach to mentoring young athletes. He's been a guest instructor at baseball camps, worked with children who have limb differences, and has offered one-on-one guidance to athletes facing various challenges. Abbott's mentorship is not limited to the physical aspect of the game. He also emphasizes mental strength. He teaches young athletes to adopt a no-excuses attitude, highlighting that success is built not just on talent, but on hard work, discipline, and mental resilience. Abbott's mentorship has been described by many as life-changing, especially for kids who struggle with self-confidence due to physical challenges. One of the most touching moments in Abbott's post-baseball career came when he met a young boy named Tommy Morrissey, who was born without a right arm. Abbott's interaction with Tommy, a baseball prodigy in his own right, went viral on social media. The moment wasn't just about an MLB pitcher meeting a fan. It was about passing the torch of hope, showing the next generation that anything is possible. Throughout his career, the media portrayed Abbott as more than just a pitcher. He was often referred to as a symbol of resilience. Headlines focused not only on his performances, but also on his ability to defy expectations. Media outlets celebrated his success, but they also humanized his journey, often emphasizing the physical and mental hurdles he overcame. However, Abbott has often stated that he doesn't want to be remembered simply as the one-handed pitcher. Instead, he wishes to be known as a competitor, a teammate, and a fighter who never gave up. This perspective resonates in the broader conversation about how athletes with disabilities are portrayed. Abbott's story helps shift the narrative from one of pity or inspiration to one of respect and acknowledgement of skill. Abbott's journey reminds us that success doesn't always come with a perfect package. Instead, it's often found in the imperfections that drive us to be better, work harder, and strive for excellence despite the odds. He's more than just a pitcher who made it to the MLB. He's a symbol of what's possible when talent meets tenacity. Abbott's work continues to impact lives today, inspiring a new wave of athletes to break boundaries and redefine what's possible in sports. His legacy is not confined to Cooperstown, but rather extends to anyone willing to challenge the status quo and believe in their ability to achieve greatness, no matter the obstacles. Our biggest hope is that one day, the Baseball Hall of Fame will reconsider their standards. Jim Abbott exemplifies exactly what it means to be a Hall of Famer. He was a trailblazer with the goods to back it up. Jim Abbott deserves a spot in Cooperstown, the shrine of baseball. Abbott's career is more than just a journey of overcoming physical limitations. It's a tale of hope, passion, and dedication. His journey is one of the most remarkable in MLB history, reinforcing that heart and spirit can often triumph over physical barriers. Thanks for watching, and the Yak Fam appreciates you for allowing us to be part of your day.